Hey there guys, this is Richard, your host with another marvelous video. This time, Nightsisters anatomy explored. The evil witches of Star Wars universe. Welcome, Star Wars enthusiasts, to a mystical journey deep within the dark and enigmatic world of the Nightsisters. We're about to embark on an exciting investigation of the complicated anatomy and mythology surrounding these intriguing species from the world of Star Wars in this marvelous video. The Nightsisters, who originate from the enigmatic planet Dathomir, have long piqued the interest of fans with their distinctive blend of the supernatural, warrior skills, and odd rites. Our journey will take us past the screen to learn about their origins, society, and the complicated biochemistry that gives them their incredible talents. From their connection to the Force to their enchanting spells and distinctive appearance, we'll leave no stone unturned. Prepare to be captivated as we deconstruct the Nightsisters' essence, shining light on their sinister and terrible world. We promise our video will be an informative tour you won't want to miss, whether you're a fervent follower or just interested about this interesting clan of the Star Wars galaxy. May the Force guide us as we unravel the secrets of the Nightsisters. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Who are the Nightsisters? What do they look like? Once in a long bygone era, in a far-flung region of the Star Wars universe, resided a mysterious clan of ladies renowned as the Nightsisters. These strong women lived on Dathomir, a gloomy and desolate planet filled with foreboding forces. Some species were downright terrified of the Nightsisters due to their dark magic and feared what they could become. But here's the thing. The Nightsisters were mainly concerned with Dathomir itself. As long as outsiders didn't meddle in their business, they usually kept to themselves. Now, there were also Night Brothers, their male counterparts in this unique society. However, they didn't get as much attention as the spellcasting Nightsisters. What made the Nightsisters so remarkable was their ability to perform mystical magics. They drew their power from the magical essence known as Ikor that flowed deep within Dathomir. This planet virtually pulsed with dark energy, providing the Nightsisters with a strong link to the dark side of the Force. According to legend, the first Nightsisters were introduced to the teachings of the Force by Alia, a Jedi banished to Dathomir by the Jedi Council. While they didn't like the Jedi, the Nightsisters weren't trying to cause havoc. They were more focused on protecting and nurturing their planet rather than conquering others. In the mystical world of the Nightsisters of Dathomir, most of them were Dathomirians, but interestingly, folks from other species like humans could also join their group. Now, these Dathomirian ladies were quite distinctive. They often had really pale grey or white skin with striking blue or silvery eyes. They were slim and tall with a lot of athleticism. The hitch was that it was a community dominated by women, which meant that the sisters held all the power. They kept their distance from Dathomir's men, referred to as the Night Brothers. These guys didn't have much to do except serve the sisters and, well, help with making more Dathomirians. Now, what's fascinating is that all Dathomirians had a special connection to the Force, and this was thanks to the genetic Force factor carried by the female human Nightsisters. It played a significant role in creating their unique subspecies on the planet.
Do you abandon your old life for this new one?
What is the mysterious species of the Nightsisters in Star Wars lore? Let's now examine the Nightsisters of Dathomir, whose members come from several races, including humans. But here's where things start to get interesting. The Dathomirian Nightsisters, well, they were certainly a very unique group of witches. They were genetically a mix of different species that ended up on the planet, and you guessed it, they interbred. Some Nightsisters were full-blooded humans, while others were a result of hybridization between human witches and male Zabraks from Ratatak. These hybrids are known as Dathomirian Zabraks. Essentially, they were kind of like half human and half Zabrak, but with a few particular traits unique to Dathomir. Now, the ladies of this group had paler skin and didn't have horns like the typical Zabraks, but there was a clear difference between the males and females. Dathomiri Night Brothers mostly looked like Zabraks, while Dathomiri Nightsisters carried a mix of human and Ratataki traits. However, it's worth noting that the Dathomirian racial group was nearly wiped out during the Clone Wars. When heroes from the New Republic visited the planet later on, all the Force witches they met were human. Quite the twist in the history of Dathomir. Dark secret about Nightsisters and their servants that leads to breeding. Now, let's uncover the intriguing social structure on the witches' planet Dathomir. Here, they took matriarchy to the extreme, and the male inhabitants were pretty much seen as slaves and used for breeding. When it came to breeding, they usually preferred healthy humans or near humans, and the other aliens often ended up as laborers. It was a tough deal because, after mating, most breeders were, sadly, not allowed to live any longer. All this started quite a while back, before the fall of the Republic, when a group of pirates showed up on Dathomir with a bunch of male Zabraks, the horned near-humans. The then all-human Nightsisters found them exciting and discovered they could have hybrid offspring by mixing human and Zabrak genes. These hybrids became known as the Dathomirians. Now, the girls joined their covens, but the boys, now called Night Brothers, were kept as slaves and breeders. It's important to note that all the witch clans on Dathomir followed a very strict matriarchal system. Each coven was like a sisterhood led by the clan mother, and the male members were often overlooked. However, in a few clans, the Nightsisters did have male warriors. These clans believed that these male warriors could balance both masculine and feminine energies in the spirit realm. Even though they were skilled fighters, these brothers were still subservient to the Nightsisters and lived in isolation. Quite a complex and unique society, wouldn't you say? Why do Night Brothers have spikes on their head, but Nightsisters don't? Now, the truth is that the Nightsisters and Night Brothers in Dathomir are essentially the same species, as we previously established, but their story has a very interesting twist, one that concerns sexual dimorphism. Sexual dimorphism is when a particular species develops varied physical characteristics according to their gender, whether they're male or female. In this situation, it's why the Night Brothers have incredible spikes, but the Nightsisters don't. And here's a fun fact. Pablo Hidalgo, a Star Wars scholar, backed up this distinction and even described the spikes as squishy. In simple terms, their gender-specific characteristics are all determined by how they developed and evolved over time. Isn't this a fascinating subject?
Your infiltration proves Dooku is vulnerable.
Is there a particular uniform for Nightsisters? When it comes to the fashion sense of the Nightsisters, there wasn't a strict dress code. They kind of went with what suited their personal style. However, a lot of them leaned toward wearing black robes and cloaks, and they loved adding tribal jewelry and other fabulous accessories to their outfits. Now, what's really intriguing is that many of them had super pale skin, which they might have enhanced with special makeup, but their fashion wasn't the only exciting thing about them. These Nightsisters had a knack for using the Force to make simple weapons like swords incredibly tough, even tough enough to withstand lightsabers used by Jedi and Sith. While they usually preferred more primitive weapons like swords and spears, some of them were pretty unique. A few even wielded lightsabers, and there were those who rocked a light whip or a red-bladed lightsaber. They were definitely not your average warriors. What's the source of Nightsisters' magic? Who is the most powerful wielder of magic? Let's dive into something pretty mystical. The Nightsisters and their use of magic, also known as shadow magic, force magic, or sorcery. This was a unique aspect of the Force that allowed these practitioners to wield incredible powers, mostly connected to the dark side. Now, what made this magic special was that it tapped into the magical essence called Ikor, flowing deep within Dathomir. The most powerful Nightsister, known as Daka, was a real pro at using this Ikor for all sorts of deadly activities. But here's where their philosophy differs. While the Jedi and Sith saw their abilities as a manifestation of the dark side, the Nightsisters saw things differently. They didn't acknowledge the difference between both the light and dark sides of the Force. Their techniques often leaned toward the darker side, but they didn't get caught up in power-hungry ambitions like the Sith or seek knowledge like the Jedi. Because of this mindset, they could tap into their powers without getting carried away by emotions like the Sith did. It was kind of a unique balance. And speaking of uniqueness, some Nightsisters believed in a winged goddess, a deity associated with life, fertility, and divination. Others followed the fanged god, who was all about death and the hunt. It added a really intriguing layer to their mystical world. Now meet Daka, or as some called her, Old Daka. She was an elderly Dathomirian witch and a vital member of the Nightsister group, living in their lair on Dathomir during the Clone Wars. Now, when it came to wisdom and magical know-how, Daka was the one Nightsister to go to. She was the oldest and wisest among the Nightsisters, and her knowledge of all things magical was pretty unmatched. As the elder of her clan, Daka took on the role of passing down her magical expertise to the younger Nightsisters. This made her accepted as the most formidable member of her community, and even the clan's head, Mother Talzin, admired her. Daka's tale took a tragic turn when she was stabbed with one among General Grievous's lightsabers. It was a brutal end for such a powerful and wise witch.
Rise! Awake!
Why do they use magical Ikor? Let us now venture into the truly fascinating aspects of these Nightsisters and the mind-boggling spells that they perform. They had a distinctive set of skills that most people in the cosmos had no idea of, and there's a pretty practical reason behind all their secrets. Dathomir, the planet they called home, was unlike any other place in the universe. The Force there was incredibly potent, and it had this strange magic flowing deep within it. This magic was called Ikor, and it was potent enough for the Nightsisters to use in their enchantments. But here's the catch. They were way more powerful on Dathomir than anywhere else, so not many dared to visit that planet. With this special gift, the Nightsisters got creative and discovered some pretty dark and deadly ways to use it. For instance, they could bring a corpse back to life, a lot like a zombie. And what's even crazier, these revived souls could take over living beings. Imagine that. But that's not all. They even figured out how to control the fierce wildlife on Dathomir, like the monstrous rancors. These monsters were thought to be among the most ferocious in the cosmos, but the Nightsisters managed to tame them. Their sorcery was so powerful that they were capable of controlling a wild creature like a rancor. Now, aren't those some serious magical abilities? What are the diverse positions in Nightsisters' clan? Alright, let's break down the different roles and ranks within the Nightsisters clans. These clans were quite diverse, and each had its own set of positions. First up, we have the clan mother. These were the wise elders who led the clan and held a special place as matriarchs. Then there were the Nightsister shamans. These elders were believed to have a connection to the spirit world. They had a unique perspective on the dark side of the Force, which they viewed through a religious and cultural lens. Their role in the clan was all about maintaining the balance of nature. Next, we had the beast wardens. These folks were responsible for taming and controlling the wildlife on Dathomir, like those fearsome rancors. Now, here's something really cool. The hunters. These elite Nightsisters were handpicked by the clan mother. They were armed with energy bows that shot plasma-generated arrows. Their job? Tracking down and eliminating the enemies of the Nightsisters. Moving on, we've got the Shadow Killers. These were the assassins of the Nightsisters. They used silent, easily concealed weapons coated with poison. They even wore black wraps to blend into the shadows. Shamans could summon a mist, a cloak made of spirit Ikor, which helped these killers move between the physical and spirit realms. Then there were the warriors. They wore unique cuffs and shoulder armor, earned through the Crucible trials. Their weapons were infused with powerful magic and could cut through anything. Some warriors were even transformed using green spirit Ikor by skilled shamans. Now, whether you were a Nightsister or a Night Brother, becoming a Dathomiri mercenary meant surviving the grueling selection trials. It was no easy feat, but those who endured became formidable warriors and protectors of their clans. Are they immortal? Strange funerals of Nightsisters. Let's unravel a dramatic tale from the time around the Battle of Yavin. The Nightsisters, using the dark side of the Force, managed to corrupt Imperial troops and even took control of the prison staff away from Imperial officers. When the Empire got wind of this, the Nightsisters turned the Imperial soldiers against their own officers. This sparked a fierce battle on Dathomir between loyal Imperial forces and the Nightsisters, who had Imperial slaves on their side. In the end, the Nightsisters were defeated and pushed back from the prison. But when Emperor Palpatine realized just how powerful and dangerous they were, he became seriously concerned. He ordered all the ships on Dathomir destroyed and set up a quarantine to keep the Nightsisters and their clans grounded. The prison and Imperial forces were left behind. These abandoned troops continued to fight the Nightsisters for years, but the Nightsisters and their minions eventually took over the Imperial prison and enslaved the stranded Imperials. They tried to build an escape craft but couldn't manage it. However, a few Nightsisters did manage to escape this fate. Some joined forces with Tiber Zan of the Zan Consortium, while others ended up on Endor. In 8 AB, they made a deal with Warlord Zinj to hand over Han Solo in exchange for a ship to escape the planet. Sadly, Zinj betrayed them and had 2 Imperial Star Destroyers destroy their escape shuttle, ending their story. So, despite their mystical powers, it's safe to say that the Nightsisters were not immortal after all. The Nightsisters had a unique way of dealing with death. They didn't really celebrate it, but it was not something that they feared. They considered it to be a natural part of life, believing that it was like a veil everyone would have to eventually pass through. When it came to preparing a funeral for a deceased Nightsister, they had a whole process. First, they used magical water to wash pieces of cloth. Then they would hand braid these pieces together while reciting a protective spell. After that, the bodies were cleared with fragrant oils and put into these special burial pods that they just made. These pods were often made from animal skin and decorated with those braided tassels. These unique burial pods were then hung on structures made from branches, bones, animal skins, and shells. If you looked at their graveyards, you'd see a resemblance to the plant life on Dathomir, with its twisted trees weighed down by large cocoon-like fruits. It was a distinct and meaningful way for the Nightsisters to honor their departed sisters. Who is the Nightsister in the Ahsoka series? Now get ready for some of the most recent, exciting Star Wars lore. In the series Ahsoka, we meet a mysterious character named Morgan Elsbeth. She's not your typical human. She was once a Nightsister from Dathomir, known for her dark magic and warrior prowess. Even though she's human, Her warrior skills, forehead markings, and attire hint at her Nightsister roots. We first encounter Elsbeth in The Mandalorian when she's the magistrate in the Citadel of Calodan. She had plans to bring back Grand Admiral Thrawn as the Empire's heir, but Ahsoka Tano and Din Djarin had other ideas and stopped her. They work together to liberate the city, and Ahsoka tries to find Thrawn's whereabouts. Now, what's intriguing is that Ahsoka mentions how Elsbeth was furious about her people's massacre during the Clone Wars. In her rage, she helped build up the Imperial Navy by plundering resources from various worlds. Although it's not confirmed, it's likely during this time that she crossed paths with Grand Admiral Thrawn, and they formed a partnership. By the time we meet her in Ahsoka, she seems to be continuing her resource-plundering ways. We also find out that one of her factories was on Corellia, a world once crucial to the Empire's shipbuilding. Even years after the Empire's fall, she still holds control over her factories there. Hers is definitely a thrilling journey with some pretty deep connections to Star Wars lore. Marvelous verdict. In conclusion, the Nightsisters of Dathomir are a captivating and enigmatic group within the Star Wars universe. Their unique origins, blending various species into a distinct culture, and their mastery of dark and mystical arts make them stand out. Despite their incredible powers, they were not immortal, as we've seen in their encounters with formidable foes. Their fascinating use of the Force, known as shadow magic, showcased their deep connection to Dathomir's mysterious energies. From controlling fierce creatures like Rancors to their eerie abilities in life and death, the Nightsisters left a lasting impression on Star Wars lore. Recent appearances of former Nightsisters like Morgan Elsbeth in The Mandalorian and the continued mention of Grand Admiral Thrawn hint at their enduring impact on the galaxy's fate. The Nightsisters remain a testament to the rich and complex world building in the Star Wars universe, leaving fans eager to uncover more of their secrets and stories in the future. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.